Hi guys, sorry I missed out on the video last week. I had some internet problems at the worst possible time. Basically, my internet was not working when I wanted it to. I mean, there was part of the day, Wednesday, when it worked, which is annoying, because then it's working, and then later in the evening, usually, which is usually where I upload, it was just gone. So, my apologies for flaking on that, and then I was gonna post it in the weekend or later, and I just forgot, and I feel horrible, but I'll make up for it. In the interest of time, because I have a lot to cover, I guess, I will just show the picture and talk about it before I move on to this week's mission, and mission from a few weeks ago when I got to reveal a few things, but anyway, I couldn't decide which character I wanted to make a friend for or whatever, and I decided, you know what, in Eureka 7, the mecha are kind of sentient a little bit, or not a little bit, they are sentient, which is a bit of a spoiler, but it's anime. The mecha have minds of their own, it's just how it works usually. Anyway, so I decided to design another mecha, and this is, and I'll be using terminology that you might not recognize if you haven't seen the show, but this is a Terminus. I'm going to call it the Terminus Type 404. I looked up and see numbers that weren't used, and I think 404 wasn't used. But yes, and here it is. I really hope you can see it. Right here is the dude standing up with my wonderful cubism looking drawing. Here's the board, the ref board he uses, and it splits in the middle. And that reason you can see the top of the board is right here and the bottom's right here. It kind of creates a chassis around when it's in the car mode. He has a melee weapon, you can see it right here. It's a sword, because I think it's sweet that they use melee weapons, and it's sweet if one of them uses a sword, which they use smaller knives. I don't think anyone actually uses a huge sword, so that's cool. And the reason, and this is what's special about mine, that the board splits here and kind of goes on the top and the bottom on this Terminus, is because not only does it fly around when it's lifting, I was going to say reffing, but it's actually lifting, because you lift on a ref board. I haven't watched the series in a while. Not only does it walk around like this and become a car and fly around, it also becomes a boat. That is right. Kind of created a chassis with the board, so the board kind of, instead of being more flat like some of them are, it's kind of got a really curved shape on the bottom, but then it also, you got the I forget, the wheel, I think they call it, right there, that makes it ref, but makes it lift. I should have watched an episode or two to get my terminology and feel of this right. You see, you got the engines right here, but yes, it goes in the wheels will retract. I'm doing this where I can see it kind of retract up on these a little bit, and then it will float and become a boat, which is kind of cool. A little bit frivolous, because it could just fly over the water and that'd be faster, but then you could say the same thing about it driving around on land. But yeah, so that is the Terminus Type 404. On to the Two Truths and a Lie. I am making up for so much right now that I'm here late because I missed a video, and then on the reveal when I came in and did one in there too, just for the fun of it. But the first one, the truths and the lies, were I've seen and enjoyed all the Anime News Network's top 10 most popular anime. Number 2 was that even though I really enjoyed Avatar: The Last Airbender, I get annoyed people call it anime. And the third one was that I started reading manga after I got one along with a box set, that I got the box set for the t-shirt. And, as a lot of people I think said, that number 1 was indeed The Lie. There might have been a few in there I hadn't seen, but I despised Evangelion, and I think that was in the list, so there you go. And for the bonus ones I added, which were that, number one, that I was once mocked by Mexican schoolchildren. Number two, that I was once beaten up by chairlift, ski chairlift when you go skiing. And number three, that I have eaten squirrel before. And the only lie within these ones is that one of them is a lie. It was a trick question, all three of those are true. And maybe I'll make a video on my personal channel explaining those and telling the stories, because I don't want to make this video too long. But yes, I was once mocked by Mexican school children. I was once more attacked than really beaten up by a chairlift. And I have eaten squirrel before. It was tasty. On to the last bit. Talking about live action martial arts stuff. This was really inspired because when I was on Netflix, I've started watching a few Thai martial arts films. To date, because I watched Ong Bak first because it was recommended to me by a friend and I heard it was good, so I watched it and it was enjoyable. After that, I watched the movie Chocolate because it looked interesting and I enjoy martial arts films, so even if the story's a little weak, I can just sit down and enjoy it. And third, I watched Raging Phoenix after seeing Chocolate, because I forget the leading lady's name in Chocolate, but she made that film too. Ong Bak and Chocolate were both very good. Raging Phoenix was... the fighting was good, and the acting, a lot of the acting was good, but a lot of it was really stupid, just like the storyline, and yeah, just the writing was not very good, and I think they could have, there's a twist in what was going on with some of the villains in this movie, and I think they should have kept it at the very baseline, because it starts out because the leading lady is almost kidnapped by this gang, and of course you're going to assume it's like human trafficking and stealing organs, junk like that, but you later find out it's something else. Spoiler there, sorry. But if they would have kept it like that, I mean, that you can read that she's almost kidnapped, but then learns to fight from the people that save her and stuff like that in the description of the movie, and that would have been good enough, but they added things that kind of made it dumb. But I should stop talking about that one and talk about stuff that I really liked. Again, Ong Bak, very good. Again, there's not a whole lot of story to it. There's a story there, but it's just not a drawn-out, deep story. I think I read Ebert's review about it. Roger Ebert, for those who don't know, famous movie reviewer in America. But read Roger Ebert's review of it, and he liked it, and like he said, he didn't write anything down when he's taking notes for it. And he said like there wasn't much there, but it was an enjoyable film. He said he kind of described it as a look what I can do kind of movie, because Tony Jaa, he's amazing. Some of the things he can pull off there, and yes, that's what I want to talk about, because what I appreciated about some of these Thai martial arts films I've seen is that it's kind of going along the lines of, I think there's two types of martial arts films now I can look at it. There's kinds of ones that use the wires and go through all this spectacle, and no one believes anyone can actually do these things, but Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, which I haven't seen, I've seen a few clips, but House of Flying Daggers, like Dylan mentioned, very good film. He hasn't seen it, but I do recommend it. It's very good, great story. It's just beautiful, great choreography and stuff like that, but it's the same thing where like they use the lines and they're flying around and stuff, and that's great. And I enjoy those, but there's also the thing with like Ong Bak and Chocolate, which they don't use lines, and it's all that you're seeing is really happening. A lot of these movies, when you see them like in the previews, they'll say like, no lines, no this, it's really happening. And that's cool too, because it kind of takes a little bit of the spectacle out of it, because, you know, someone doesn't just go running up a tree or something like that. But it's still really awesome, because it's some of these amazing stunts, amazing things, and these people are really doing it. Chocolate, if you go and like read the forums and stuff like that, people are like, they did use wires, blah blah blah. See, in that movie, they use wires as like a safety thing, so they were running around the side of a building and like on like ledges and fighting and stuff, but the wires they attached to them is so when they fall, they wouldn't die. It wasn't a wire making them fly, it was a wire safety harness thing, so the wires weren't used to create special things. I don't know if there's anything else I want to talk about martial arts films, because I mentioned the ones, and that was really the premise of this that made me think of this film, this mission, because I started watching the martial arts movies and it was enjoyable, and it's a different kind of thing. Like, yeah, there's anime, and you can go and watch martial arts anime, watch Naruto or Samurai Champloo or whichever, and those are, I mean, I'm not a Naruto fan, but, you know, those are fun and cool to watch, but it's also kind of cool to watch some of the live action things, and it really, I mean, Japan has a kind of a corner on the anime market, because anime, Japanese animation, all that kind of stuff, but when you go to like the martial arts films, there's such a wide range that it goes to, and that's really cool. So there's a few other ones that I've watched recently on Netflix, but those were kind of not as much martial arts. Like, one was about like swordplay and things like that, which is cool, but I wanted to stick to the strict martial arts ones. So see you guys next week. See you guys the rest of the weekend. Yeah, this is fun. Martial arts.